Good morning, friends. I've just been sitting here chanting for 15 minutes or so, and just getting in the feel. I'm going to move this a bit closer. Is that better? At least I can see a bit better. And because I'm not at home, I'm in Paris for a couple of days, and so I don't have my usual mic set up. And I quite like to be able to just speak quietly in the morning and for you to hear me anyway. So I'm hoping that sound is good and that you can hear me well and clearly like this. All right. Another day, another Dharma. Nice to see you arriving, greeting each other in different geographic locations: Europe, India, Australia, Suffolk. That sense of being here together. Beautiful. Pacific Northwest of the US, etc., etc., etc. Wonderful. Yeah. Chance to sit together. Like I say, I've just been chanting for a while, and I'm sort of I just can feel the way, the sound and breath and vibration has sort of opened things up, and I just feel like sitting quietly, really. So I'll try to put forth a few words, and maybe we'll keep it rather simple this morning and just make more time for sitting. I often wonder. I think it's hard to. There's no way to get it right. Sometimes offer more reflections, sometimes less. Some of you, no doubt, find the reflections particularly helpful, and that helps to orientate to your practice and stimulate your own reflections for the day. Others would probably be quite happy to just have more silent time and meditation. And even though, of course, we could always do it, we could all of us just sit quietly on our own every day, right? But there's something about being in the company of others, even if it's virtual company, that somehow it's good for the heart. That sense of solidarity with, it's like being with others, even if we're just sitting quietly in our own room with others around the world. A sense of, not alone. And that sense that not alone can mean different things. I mean, just not alone as in just being in the company, but that sense of I'm not alone in what I care about, actually. I'm not alone in that sense of what my vision and what my values are. Because it might be that you feel alone in that in a particular situation. Maybe you feel alone in that in your family, or amongst your colleagues, or in your social situation. Let's face it, most of the world, most of the people, don't really share what we could call Dharma vision and Dharma values. Vision and values about a deep sense of how we conduct ourselves, a deep sense of wanting to orientate our life around caring for life, caring deeply for ourselves and for each other. Being that wish to really constantly step into a way of behaving towards ourselves and each other, as a way of seeing ourselves and each other, a way of responding to our own needs and each other's needs that manifests wisdom and compassion, love and understanding. I mean, most people wouldn't argue with that. But actually, moment by moment, day by day, most people aren't really led by that, nor are actively trying to orientate their hearts to that. Most people are orientated towards and led by self-interest. And that can be very narrow, tight, compulsive, fearful, intense self-interest. Or it can be a little more kind of sophisticated self-interest. And some people's life circumstances are such that that kind of self-interest seems like the only possibility. But here we are, right? It's 150 or so of us, a bit more here this morning. And we're here because that's not the case. That's not the case. Just sense yourself. I'm sure you can find moments in the day where self-interest prend dessus, when self-interest gains, is in charge. And yet the very fact you're here, the very fact that we're here together, is because our vision, where we want to go, and our values, what we want to express in our lives, is broader, more deeper than that. I want to care. I want to see deeply. I want to feel deeply. I want to respond deeply. I want life to make sense, not intellectually to actually, but make sense in that deeper way, so that the way I move around my home, the way I meet and greet people, the way I go about my daily responsibilities, it has a sense that my vision and my values, right, and my practices are such that the way I go about my daily activities feels, well, peaceful, right? Because we learn to actually just relax in the midst of whatever's happening, whatever it is. Right? Feels meaningful. Not necessarily because the thing I'm doing is very meaningful. I might be doing some very ordinary domestic task. You say, well, what's meaningful? But no, actually we don't get meaning from what the thing is. We get meaningfulness arises through the quality of care and attention we put into what we're doing. You can be doing the dishes in a way that you just a bit bored, a bit impatient, a bit dissatisfied, and a bit just thinking about something else, right? Half defended, half distracted. Or you can be doing the dishes in a way that feels meaningful. Not because one's trying to give it intellectual meaning, but because it's just kind of, you're coming inside, you're relaxing into being here, and you're opening up to being here. That's where we find that which is meaningful, through relaxing into and opening up to what's happening. Slow down, open up. I like to do calligraphy, and I read that was, I think, the most recent little scroll that I wrote on these Chinese silk scrolls, and that was the last one that I made, that I hung up at the Moulin a few weeks ago, up somewhere halfway up the main stairway, and that's what it says: slow down, open up. And there's something about that being a very kind of complete practice instruction, life instruction. Just the siren going past, which you could probably hear then. It's like, how do we hear a siren? We can hear it as an annoyance. We can hear it as just something loud. We can hear it as something that, generates fear. What's happening? Is there a problem nearby? Etc. But what if we slow down and we open up? One, we just get to experience the sound more fully. We get to experience any reactivity we might have, any tension it's generated, and get to relax it. And we get to kind of explore like we know what a siren means. It means some kind of danger, emergency, somewhere for someone. And then there's just that moment, it's just like a reminder. Someone somewhere nearby is suffering. So there's kind of meaning, there's meaningfulness in that, rather than it just being a loud noise going by. there's meaningfulness. It's like that sort of it's that sobering effect in the heart. Oh yes, someone nearby is suffering. So just a reminder for our vision and our values, a reminder, oh yeah, anything can happen at any moment. Let me take good care of this moment. So once again, friends, I meant to talk about something else. I thought we might talk about the elements again this morning, but in the end we're talking about slowing down, opening up, listening to sirens, finding the meaningfulness in the way we engage with each moment. So that's no bad thing. You know, theme of the week is naturalness. Right? We discover the naturalness of our experience through slowing down and opening up. And that may be natural, but it's not very normal. What's normal is speeding up and shutting down. You know, you see it so easily, the way we tend to speed up. You know, I arrived yesterday afternoon in Paris, and it's like, oh yeah, the city moves at a different speed than the countryside. And so that tendency to, you know, just feel the collective sense. Everyone we get off the train, and everyone's sort of charging towards the ticket barrier or towards the station concourse. And maybe with good reason. Maybe they have another train to catch that's leaving imminently. But often it's just that sense of the habit of, you know, going faster than we need to. I mean, deriving, instead of real meaningfulness, a sense of purposefulness. We feel purposeful when we move fast, and when we kind of we shut down our focus. Oh yes, this is me. I'm going here, I'm doing that. I'm very busy and important. That's what's normal. But if we slow down and open up, we find what's natural. So, friends, please take your seat for meditation. And as we settle into meditation together, let's use these two very simple instructions, right, to find our way into meditation. Slowing down, just letting your attention settle into the breathing. You don't have to do anything to slow down. It's rather, we just recognize the doing that's often there anyway, the slight muscular contractions. The tendency to have our thought bouncing around in different directions. And we just allow all of that gently, gently, slowly, slowly, again and again, more and more, just to soften. Allow our attention to settle. And we have that feel of just things slowing down and simplifying. Simplifying into the sense just of sitting here and breathing. Of letting everything happen by itself. Slowing down. Slowing down and opening up. Opening up to the feel. of body sitting. Opening up to the simple, subtle sensations of the swelling of the in-breath and the softening of the out-breath and the stillness between breaths. Opening up to the ocean of awareness, which is the container of our experience. Opening up to all the ripples that we were exploring yesterday, ripples of sound, sensation, thought. Slowing down and opening up. Just like this. Just this. Very simple. Slowing down. Opening up. Moving from the normal to the natural. Nothing to do. Slowing down isn't a product of doing. Just allowing the conditions to find their natural poise, allowing the feel of body and the fizzing of the nervous system, just allowing it all to have the space to be felt, so that that quality of slowing down is a natural process. Recognizing the subtle tensions that we create and hold, and in the recognizing, just letting those tensions soften so that there's a natural feel in the relaxation of opening up. Just letting ourselves become more present, more awake, more available to the touch of life. Moment by moment, like this. And the moments when you notice you've become distracted or tense or collapsed or whatever, no problem. No need for blame. All of that just adds to the tension. Instead, each moment that you notice that your attention has been elsewhere, just use that as a reminder, another opportunity to very simply reset your practice. So just gently let go of whatever that thought stream is. Let your attention re-enter the feel of being here and of breathing. So that each distraction, the recognition of each distraction, is a good thing. A reminder to slow down, to open up. To become familiar again with the sense of presence, awakeness. Of the intimacy with life into which our practice keeps inviting us. Each in-breath, opening up. Each out-breath, slowing down. Each out breath slowing down. Each in breath opening up. So on the one hand, that quality of just softening, relaxing, slowing, but also still cultivating a sense of brightness, connection, opening. Meditation as the blending of quiet, still, relaxed, and yet also intimate, connected, bright. Quietening with the out breath, brightening with the in breath. Just continuing to practice like this for the last few minutes of the sitting. May we all remember life's invitation again and again and again to slow down and open up. May we become more and more familiar with a sense of inner ease, being at home in a way where, regardless of the speed and the pace and the complexity of what we're doing, we feel a sense of gentleness, slowness, relaxation, along with this sense of connection, curiosity, interest, intimacy, openness. May we all know the liberating fruits of this practice: ease and joy, wisdom and compassion, freeness of being. All right. So you'll remember on Monday, I was encouraging that continuity throughout the week, the way the tendency is for the intentions and the actions to come a little disaligned from each other as the week goes by. So thus far, it's been pretty impressive to see that the attendance level has stayed pretty steady through the week. So great. Let's keep it going for tomorrow as well. There's some time for questions if you have them now. Please feel free. If it's something that stands out in your own practice from anything I've said this morning, or anything else in general, anything that seems like it might be helpful to explore a little or ask about, you can just type question in the chat there. And as we get into the questions, just that reminder that all of this is freely offered, freely shared, freely given, and though it's free of charge and free of obligation, it's definitely not free of cost. There's very many overheads that go into making accessible, online, interactive, free teachings available almost every day of every month throughout the year. So, we freely offer the platform and practices and teachings to you, and then we ask you to freely offer support to us. That means me, as the teacher this week. The teacher is supported partially from the dana that comes in, and then the platform, and that means paying all the costs and the wages of those who work. Some people working full time at Sangha Live, as well as paying all the kind of overheads of the hosting costs and the mail server costs and all that stuff. So there's a link for offering dana in the email that you'll have received, and George has very helpfully just posted that link into the chat as well. Yeah. All right, that's the business out of the way. Any questions? No questions. It does happen very occasionally, but it's a rare morning, I would say. 2 or 3 times in the last many hundreds of these weeks. Here we go. Rosie. Hello, Rosie. I love the condensing to slow down and open up. The hardest place for me to do this is when working within a time frame. Yeah, I need to decorate the room by X o'clock. Any tips for when working? Yes, slow down. That's the interesting thing when we have a time frame. There's a saying, I think, in English. Is it more haste, less speed? I'm not quite sure actually how to unpick that saying, but I think it's pointing to that fact that actually when we're going, when we're acting out of agitation, we're actually less efficient, right? And so, but the feeling is, oh, I need to do it by X o'clock, therefore I speed up. And it may be some things, of course, the body may need to move quickly while we're doing, but the feeling of rushing is never helpful. So, it's like there might be reason to move quickly. There's never, ever good reason to rush. And it might be then that you just distinguish what's the difference, Rosie, between moving quickly and rushing. And now I see your added comment that you find there's a pleasantness to the momentum. Yeah. So have the momentum, right? There's a pleasantness to being purposeful, right? It's pleasant to be purposeful. Oh yeah, I'm in the flow of doing something. By all means, be in the flow, And yet within the flow, actually, within the momentum, there's two different kinds of pleasantness that can be in that momentum. One of them is a busy pleasantness, and yes, it can be addictive, but over time it's also corrosive in a way, because we're building up a sense of, it's got that feeling of I'm very busy and important in it, or some variation thereof. And there's another kind of pleasantness in the momentum that feels like, oh, there's a naturalness to this. It just feels fluid. We're decorating the room, it may be the painting, it feels fluid. Beautiful. So you can actually slow down within and open up to the fluidity. The action may still be going on and having some momentum, but what I'm talking about slowing down, it's actually slowing down the mental busyness that often goes with our activity. When we're rushing, we're mentally busy inside the activity. And we may otherwise be moving quickly, be efficient, be in the momentum of doing something, but actually there's no mental busyness in it. And then it's just the enjoying the kind of sense of, wow, the miracle of that the body can be quite gracious, fluid, elegant, that there can be a momentum of the way we move around a space and enter into a task that has a sense of flow or freeness to it. Yeah. All right. Let's see. I saw there was a bunch of questions. Manulu, if I feel a very strong and intense emotion in the stomach, how to open up and soften these? Well, if you feel an intense emotion in the stomach, Manu, the slowing down, the opening up isn't softening as a way of making it go away. It's actually opening up to feel it. Probably needs feeling. Then it'll soften by itself, but you can't soften it without feeling it. So it's like, actually opening up, being willing to feel the grief, sadness, hurt, etc. And if that is too much, then you move away, right? Then you can open up your attention to something else that isn't too intense. But that sense of, it's like, oh, I want to soften so that I don't have to feel it, or I want to soften so that it can go away. I feel that it's tense and I just want to soften the tension. Emotional tensions, habitual tensions, you can do that. Right? I notice I'm a bit like this. I just keep softening the face, softening the shoulders. But emotional tensions, particularly the ones down through the central core, throat, chest, belly, you can't just soften those away. The softening is actually a process of opening to, being willing to feel. Then it'll soften by itself. Miriam says, I usually have the feeling I'm at ease with myself. Good. but I have the tendency to criticize other people, which I know is also a form of self-criticism. Yeah, I see it, I can get into it, but somehow I don't get closer to where it comes from. Don't worry about it, Mary. Don't worry about it, where it comes from, and don't expect that you shouldn't judge others. Just see it as a judgment, right? Otherwise, it becomes a double judgment. We criticize others, and then we see it, and then we criticize ourselves for criticizing others. Right? So the best thing you can do with criticism or judgment is just not take it. Just once you've seen it, great. Be happy with the fact that you've seen it. When you've seen it, you don't have to collude with it. You don't have to believe in it. But you also don't have to persecute yourself for it. Judging somebody isn't the evidence that you're a bad person, right? Because then if you make it into that evidence, then it's a self-judgment as well. It's just, oh yeah, judgment. You know, just like sounds go by, sweet sounds go by, and then loud, unpleasant sounds go by. Same with thoughts. Sweet sounds, sweet thoughts go by, and then, there's some unpleasant, critical, mean-spirited thought. Just let it go by. Let it go by like you let the sound of a big, dirty, noisy truck go by. Yeah. So see how that makes a difference, right? Rather than trying to figure out where it comes from or try to make it disappear. Just leaving it alone. And then a few of you are mentioning about the recording not having been posted yesterday. So thanks for alerting us to that. And George knows now and will hopefully work his magic. Claire says, quand je guide des méditations, j'invite souvent à s'abandonner au souffle. Oh, very nice. Laisser le souffle installer notre présence. Very nice. To give yourself, Claire's saying, when I lead meditations for others, I often use the phrase to give yourself to the breath. S'abandonner au souffle, to relax into, give oneself up to the breathing. Very nice. Yeah, good, Laura. Just appreciating that sense that meaning comes from the quality of care that you put into things. Yes. 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 So yes, Claire, sounds good to me. Yeah, I see that there's a question that follows on from your comment. Yeah, sounds beautiful to me, expressing it like that. All right, let's see. Time for there's lots more in the chat there. Lean says, is it necessary to do long and strict retreats to see into the nature of reality, or is a less strict practice focused on opening up and relaxing, also opening up to the same reality? I talked to a Buddhist nun recently who said you need to do 3-month retreats to see ultimate reality. Oh, Mahasi, yeah, well, the Mahasi style of practice is totally built on retreat style practice. That fine noting there in the Mahasi style, and the kind of the breaking down into the sort of Dhammadhatu kind of very, very fine flow of sensations, etc. That style of practice, and the whole Visuddhimagga thing, the path of insight, and the very precise steps on that path of insight are built on retreat style practice. But that's not the only way to practice, right? So I don't want to be at all critical of that Mahasi style of practice, which is deep and potent and etc. But that's a very strong and overly narrow statement that you need to do 3-month retreats. And maybe this person may or may not have expressed it quite like that, but the idea that you need to do 3-month retreats to see ultimate reality. Does that mean that only people who've done 3-month retreats have had any glimpse of ultimate reality? Ridiculous. Does that mean that if everybody that has done a 3-month retreat has equally ridiculous? So I would say you have to see for yourself what's helpful. You've got lots of retreat experience, Lean, right? So you know the benefits and the potency and the depth of going deeply into the subtlety of things that can open up in silent retreats. And you also know the importance of kind of integrating that, and the way a lot of insight and a lot of growth of our practice can happen through actually learning, for example, to slow down and open up in the midst of the challenges and the inputs and the intensity of everyday life. Just like you say, in my own experience, insights often came in both situations, but most even outside of retreats and meditation, spontaneously. Yes, I would say they're not completely just spontaneously, right? They may arrive outside of retreats and meditation, but the fact that you sit retreats and the fact that you have a regular and sincere practice, it's like you're setting up your formal practice, sets up the sensitivity into which insights can arise, even though the insights themselves may well come outside of formal practice. And I would say the same. Meditation is a beautiful way of deepening the quality of experience and the sensitivity to experience. But most of the kind of vital insights often arise not within the formal practice itself. All right, good. All right, that sounds good, Rosie. Elegant Qigong style decorating, fluid paintbrush. Nice. How are we doing? We're kind of at the end of the time. I see that there's a whole bunch of extra stuff below what I've managed to get to with the questions. But hey, let's just come back tomorrow and do it all again. So if you have a question that didn't get a response today, feel free to copy it and you can paste it in tomorrow. I'll have a train to catch tomorrow morning, so I might have to. I'll have to end the session a little early, but I'll make some time to answer questions again. And then I see Julien. I didn't have time to read it, but I see that Julien has posted a question. And yes, please feel free, George, to paste it in tomorrow. All right, friends. Hey, how about if your day was guided by these principles? Just remembering. Every time you do remember, every time life reminds you that you're going quickly, there's opportunity again and again. Just slow down a little, open up a little, see what difference that might make. See you tomorrow. Thank you.